All right, ladies and gentlemen, with the bonus.
Bonus episode. So.
2 weeks in a row, bonus episodes of the pod. Last week, we had our Thunderbolts review because we had to catch up with our WrestleMania review. So we had a bonus episode with our Thunderbolts review. And now this week, another bonus episode because this is way too big to just throw into a little news discussion part of the actual podcast. The official second trailer for GTA 6 has dropped. But not just that. They did not just go, hey, we're just going to give you this trailer. That was actually pretty long. It was like 3 minutes long. They also officially launched the website for GTA 6 with all the info on the main side characters and the locations. The main characters, side characters, and the locations of GTA 6. So, as well as I'm remembering everything, as well as we not only got a 3-minute trailer, not only got the website with all the descriptions, 70 plus screenshots in itself, not screenshots from the trailer, actual screenshots between the website and stuff that they sent out to, I guess, creators. I guess certain creators got actual, like, personal messages or emails from Rockstar with exclusive screenshots to share, which is really cool. So yeah, lots of stuff. This to me, I'm like, this is the official real reveal of GTA 6. When we got that first trailer, it obviously was a teaser with what we thought was the expected date that obviously has changed. And so I knew this was going to come at some point. This is the actual full reveal of GTA 6, and now after this, we're going to start getting just more and more screenshots.
Now we're getting there. Now we're counting down the days.
Right. We'll get more screenshots, character trailers. We'll get actual full gameplay, things like that, the activities, all that type of stuff. We got about a year and some change, but really kind of a year. I think, what was it, May 26th, 2026?
May 26th, yeah.
That's the official reveal date now, or release date now. I don't see that changing at this point because from where this game looks in that trailer, it looks pretty done, so I don't know what they're taking a year to kind of do. Obviously, they're doing something. Probably just, I think they said the year, delay is more for crunch time. Like, so the small stuff that they're working on, they don't want to have like a kind of toxic environment. I know there was a lot of talk during the pandemic and stuff that Rockstar had a lot of crunch time and it was kind of a toxic environment to work at for a little bit because between GTA Online, Red Dead Online, and GTA 6, they just had a lot of delays and things that they had to get to. It was not a great place. So I think this year isn't because the game's not finished. I think it's in a pretty good state. It's more so the fine-tuning of the details and the code and stuff like that, and they don't want to kind of force their employees to, hate their lives, obviously. So I'm assuming that's what the year delay is for. But yeah, so GTA 6 trailer, screenshots, website. We got a ton of information between all of that. So we're gonna be here and break it down for you in this bonus episode. Like I said, this is way too much to just throw into our quick little news discussion thing on the normal pod. So, and I also wanted to make this episode just because GTA 6 is gonna be a very big part of me and Theo's lives. GTA 5, obviously, what still is and was like such a huge part of our lives and so many memories. That's probably the game that we played together the most throughout, the 13 years that it's been a thing for GTA Online. So yeah, GTA 6 is gonna be no different. Once it drops, me and Theo are gonna be probably MIA for about a week and only talking to each other through the voice chat.
There'll be no episode that week.
Right. Only talking to each other through the voice chat of the PlayStation.
That'll be how we record the episode. We'll be mid-playing the game. That's how we'll be recording that episode.
So yeah, let's dive into this info, starting with the characters. First is our two main characters here. So first is Jason Duval. His description: Jason wants an easy life, but things just keep getting harder. Jason grew up around grifters and crooks. After a stint in the army, trying to shake off his troubled teens, he found himself in the Keys, doing what he knows best, working for local drug runners. It might be time to try something new. Meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him. Jason knows how he'd like it to turn out, but right now it's hard to tell. So clearly this is the male, for the first time, I believe this is like the first male-female kind of main characters that you play as.
Yeah.
Only two, from what we know, at least there's only two, whereas GTA 5 had the three, obviously. This one, they scaled it back to two. Jason, definitely, he looks great. he's definitely kind of a man's man. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely, muscled up. I mean, you literally see in the beginning of the trailer, he's doing construction on his own house and things like that. So he's definitely kind of like a man's man. And yeah, I mean, he looks great. There was something else I wanted to say that just slipped my mind, but yeah, he's definitely out of the duo. He's definitely the muscle, whereas maybe Lucia is more the brains. He's definitely going to be more of like the muscle. So yeah,
he looks cool. And then we got the other main character, the woman. I think this is the first ever women playable character in GTA, right?
I believe so. I mean, if you want to count online, you could play as a female, but like this is the first story.
Oh yeah. I'm not for story and stuff like that. Yeah, which is Lucina, not Lucina, Lucia Caminos.
Yeah, there you go.
She's Caminoan. Lucia's father taught her to fight as soon as she could walk. Life has been coming to her, swinging ever since. Fighting for her family landed her in the Lenoidia Penitentiary. Sheer luck, rap. Lucia's learned her lesson. Only smart moves from here. More than anything, Lucia wants the good life her mom had dreamed for her ever since her days in Liberty City. But instead of half-baked fantasies, Lucia is prepared to take matters into her own hands. A life with Jason could be the way out. Fresh out of prison and ready to change the odds in her favor, Lucia is committed to her plan no matter what it takes.
Hell yes. I when they announced that, there would be a female character, there was obviously a good portion of the internet that were crying and complaining and freaking out.
Of course.
I am actually very excited.
I'm more excited to play her, honestly. I think she's going to be fun as fuck to play.
For sure. I agree. She looks great. She's a baddie for sure. When it comes to her backstory, I remember what I wanted to say about Jason. Something that I saw people pointing out on his tattoo or whatever that's on his arm. It is kind of like a modified, because obviously GTA doesn't really use real world things, but it is a modified version of the Special Forces logo. So a lot of people are speculating, obviously he wouldn't have that for no reason. So his stint in the army is probably, he was actually Special Forces in the army. So that adds more to the character, makes it a little more interesting that he was kind of in an elite crew there when he was in the army. But when it comes to Lucia, yeah, definitely a baddie. Sheer luck getting her out of prison.
A lot more. I think it's super cool. I think it fits more into the world of GTA and stuff like that. Cause she's already a criminal, and now she's getting back out, and she's gonna be doing even more criminal stuff, even worse criminal stuff too. So I'm excited to see how that plays out in the story.
Right. My something that did pique my interest here is that she's from Liberty City. She's not from Leonida. She's from Liberty City, so that's cool. Part of me wants to think that maybe at some point we go back to Liberty City. I would hope so. I think that'd be really cool. I know, and we'll get more into this later. In the original version of GTA 6 that they were working on in like 2015 and stuff like that, the original idea was that you would be able to go between Los Santos, Vice City, and Liberty City. So I am hoping that some portion of that comes around, and after a certain point in the game, you can like go back to Liberty City or something like that. But even if it is just kind of like a North Yankton thing where it's just a portion of the story for a mission kind of takes place there, that would be really cool. But I think it would be awesome if once you get past that mission, if you could kind of just hop on a plane and take yourself to Liberty City, or maybe just a portion of it, because I think that'd be kind of crazy if all of Liberty City was rendered and shit like that. But in general, I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, her backstory definitely appeals more to me too. I think I think her stuff's gonna be really cool.
Right.
All right. Cal Hampton. What if everything on the internet was true? Jason's friend and fellow associate of Brian's, Cal feels safest hanging home, snooping on the Coast Guard comms with a few beers and some private browser tabs open. Brother's hitting that Pornhub. The psychopaths are in charge. Get used to it. Cal is at the low tide of America and happy there. Casual paranoia loves company, but his friend Jason has bigger plans. So this dude, I feel like this dude's definitely going to be the comic relief in here. You can already kind of tell by his character he's going to be... I feel like part of it is he's going to be like the Lester of this game.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, he's definitely going to be more so the Lester of this crew, for sure.
But I feel like he's also definitely going to be kind of the comedy of this. Yeah. I did see a lot of people pointing out that his voice sounds very similar to Bobby Moynihan's. And so if Bobby Moynihan is in this game, dude, that would be really cool.
Fucking amazing. I would be so ecstatic if he was fucking Bobby Moynihan, bro.
You know, for their main characters, they always kind of go with unknowns.
Right.
But sometimes the side characters are voiced like in San Andreas, Officer Tenpenny is voiced by fucking Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
So they do even in GTA Online they put fucking Dr. Dre himself in the game. So
That's
they
true.
do sometimes, the main characters no, but other characters and stuff they do tend to use, maybe some well known people. So if Bobby Moynihan voices Cal, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Next up, we got Booby Ike. Boobies.
Not Bobby, Booby.
Bobby Booby. Booby Ike. For him, it's all about heart. The Jack of Hearts. Booby is a local Vice City legend and acts like it. One of the few to transform his time in the streets into a legitimate empire spanning real estate, a strip club, and a recording studio. Booby's all smiles until it's time to talk business. Booby might seem like he's just out for himself, but it's his partnership with the young aspiring musician mogul, Dre Kwan, for only Raw Records that he's most invested in. Now, they just need a hit.
All they need is a hit.
All they need
Yeah, I'm
is a
definitely interested by this character having multiple, kind of businesses and stuff like that. But I do feel like this stuff with him and the Drake Quan dude and stuff, I feel like it's going to be part of the story, but I feel like it's going to be more of a side thing. Not like a Strangers and Freaks thing. I think that's going to be its own thing, but it's definitely going to be like a smaller part of the story. I think it'll set up more with the fact that he has real estate, strip club, recording studio. I think it'll set up more that stuff where you can purchase properties and like the stuff where you can purchase properties. I think it'll be maybe more tied into a smaller part of the story, and that's where he comes into play. Where what I'm saying? Like I don't think he is the ringleader of all this or sets up the heist. Or
Right.
I think it's more just you meet him, he shows you all this stuff. He goes, "Hey, if you want to make some money, invest in this, da 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 da," and you can kind of do missions with him that relate to that stuff. I feel like that's probably.
I mean,
more.
I could also kind of see though him like setting up like a few, maybe not like heist level or anything like that, but definitely like a few jobs here and there, like maybe like
Yeah,
because I mean it does like also kind of go back to that whole like with Dr. Dre in like GTA Online and everything like that. It could be a similar situation where this guy like needs something, and then maybe that could be your way into like okay. Now he like trusts you and he can get you into all these other different businesses and stuff like that, into where you're now
right,
operating some of these other businesses. So maybe it's just like
right.
more of like a venture opportunity sort of thing.
That's what I think for sure. I think it'd definitely be more that rather than like the full on main story. I feel like the full on main story probably has to do with that dude Brian and whatnot. But yeah, Drakewan Priest, only Raw Records. Drakewan was always more of a hustler than a gangster, even when he was dealing on the streets to make ends meet. Breaking into the music was the goal. You're with the label now. Now that he's signed the Real Dimes, Drakewan's days of booking acts in the Booby Strip Club might be numbered as he sets sights on the Vice City scene. So yeah, this obviously again more is in line with the Booby Ike stuff, as well as these Real Dimes girls that you're going to talk about next. Definitely all tied together. Definitely seems more like business opportunity stuff rather than the overarching story. But yeah, there's not much to say about Drakewan, but obviously he's kind of like trying to kind of be like an agent or a manager and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about him in general, but yeah.
Yeah. Real Dimes. Viral videos, viral hooks. Lux and Roxy, aka Real Dimes, have been friends since high school. Girls with the savvy to turn their time shaking down local dealers into cold, hard cash via spicy rap tracks and a relentless social media presence. One hit away from fame, an early hit single with local rapper Downplay took Real Dimes to new heights. Now, after 5 years and a whole lot of trouble, they're signed to only Raw Records, hoping lightning can strike twice.
Hell yeah. We see
I
them
think
in the trailer. I think they were in the first trailer as well on top of a car.
I think so. Yeah.
I think their models definitely changed though. Like they have different character models. But what were you gonna say?
One thing I really do hope, and just because I feel like it would be super cool, is that if they can maybe get like, because like the radio in GTA is just mainly like a bunch of like outside songs coming in. I would love to see maybe like one or two of their songs in the game, because I think that'd be
Yeah.
cool. Because if they are like these hit like rappers and stuff like that, it would make sense that they're on the radio.
Right. It would also be cool too if you have a mission where you go do something with them, but before or after or whatever, they are recording a track that you then afterwards then you hear it. Kind of like how, as I'm playing GTA 5 now, when you do certain things, you hear the Weasel News articles about
Yes. Yeah.
different stuff. It would be cool if throughout their missions is they're making songs that you don't hear until after that mission. Then on the radio you hear that song. It'd be cool. Like you get to hear the finished product on the radio.
Right.
Yeah, I think too. I think out of the side stuff with this whole music thing, these two are going to be the comedy. These are going to be the comedic
I think
characters.
these are probably
going
going
to
to be the best characters, honestly. That's what I think.
Maybe. I think how funny would it be since they have this ruthless social media presence if you have to go, they said, oh, the Real Dimes and Jason have to go, kill somebody or something like that, and these two are like recording it for TikTok. Like, how funny would that be? Like, Jason is like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, hey, man, drama generates views. Like, we got to record this. And he's like, we're about to fucking kill somebody. Like, we can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that them being, like, so oblivious to what they're doing.
Use the tweezers.
Yeah. I think it would be funny, like, them being so oblivious to what they're doing and only caring about the social media aspect. And it's like, we're about to kill somebody or rob somebody or do something horrible, and you guys are like recording it. I think that is like going to be the comedy that they bring to it, where they're just like totally oblivious to.
Right.
They have no self awareness of what they're doing. But also, I hope the social media aspect that they kind of have, I hope that is a part of the game, where it's not just their characters. I hope in today's day and age, social media is obviously huge, and in like GTA 5, they have like Life Invader, but you can't actually do anything with it other than just like read the posts and stuff. I would like them to include certain maybe social media apps that you could actually do some sort of posts on, or like say you're Jason and they have like the Snapmatic. They bring that back but make it more like Instagram, to where you're Jason and you can take a photo of your car and post it, and it'll be like kind of almost maybe AI generated or something like that, where you have people in the game that are commenting, like Real Dimes comment like, that shit's fire, dude. Like, that would be really cool if you can have an actual social media presence in the game.
Yeah.
So hopefully they kind of introduce that. I think that'd be really cool. So moving away from the music stuff though, Raul Batista. Experience counts, confidence, charm, and cunning. Raul's a seasoned bank robber, always on the hunt for talent, ready to take the risks that bring the biggest rewards. A professional adapts. Raul's recklessness raises the stakes with every score. Sooner or later, his crew will have to double down or pull their chips from the table. I said it to you before we started recording. I don't trust this guy one bit. This man, from his
guy's gonna be on some
screenshots,
fuck shit for sure.
yeah, from the screenshots, this man looks like he is up to no good. He looks like he is suspicious. I think part of me, this is gonna sound so dumb, part of me might think this though, because in the shitty reboot that they did for Saints Row that I played, there is a character that looks similar to him that ends up betraying you. Like he's like your right hand man, and he's like a awesome killer, and then he ends up betraying you and trying to take over your shit. And he seems very similar to that, so maybe that's why I'm saying that. But yeah, I don't think you could trust this guy at all. I think it's gonna be all happy smiles and whatnot at one point, but during the heist that you see in the trailer or something like that, he leaves you for dead. Or I was thinking, maybe just speculating, that in the trailer there's like a bank heist that Lucia and Jason are doing, and you see Raul there. I was thinking maybe that is the epilogue of the game, to where kind of like a North Yankton bank robbery, where that's the epilogue. Because when Lucia gets out of jail, Jason they already know each other. Yeah. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, they already know each other. So I'm thinking that maybe this is the epilogue where you're doing a bank heist with this dude Raul, and it goes south. Maybe he turns on you guys, and that's how Lucia ends up getting caught or something like that. But yeah, in general. Yeah, my bad. Prologue. Whoops. The beginning of the game, the first mission you do, I feel like is going to be this heist, this bank heist. That maybe Raul turns on y'all. Jason's able to get away, but Lucia gets caught. And maybe Raul is kind of the overarching villain of the game that we don't, they're hiding it, where he turns on you in the beginning, right? He turns on you in the beginning, and then he goes on the run. And part of Jason and Lucia's thing is they're gonna make money and whatnot, but they're really trying to find out, on the side, they're trying to find out where the fuck he went.
Maybe it could be like a situation where like Raul is like teasing them and fucking with them like in public, to where they like can't do shit with him. But at the same time, it's like maybe they're going after scores, and then he like swipes in at the last second and takes it, kind of like a fucking like Robin Hood or some shit like that, without giving something it back to people.
I know there was a rumor that in this game at some point you would end up going to like GTA's version of Cuba. And so as I'm thinking about it off the top of my head right now, I'm like, what if beginning of the game is right, I'm right, this shit happens, he turns on you, he goes on the run, but then he becomes this kind of drug lord in Cuba with his money and whatnot, and that maybe if this Cuba thing is right, that's part of it where you, again, you're in Vice City, you guys are doing your heist or whatever, you're trying to get info on where he may have went, and then at some point you finally get the info, and you guys, Jason and Lucia go to Cuba or whatever it's called to try and track him down, and put an end to his bullshit. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think that'd be pretty cool. But in general, long story short, I don't trust this guy at all.
Yeah, that's fair. Finally, for the last one, we got Brian Heder. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Nothing better than a mudslide at sunset. Brian's a classic drug runner from the golden age of smuggling in the Keys. Still moving product through his boatyard with his third wife, Lori, Brian's been around long enough to let others do his dirty work. Looks like Lenoidia beach bum. Moves like a great white shark. Brian's letting Jason live a rent-free at one of his properties, so long as he helps with local shakedowns and stops by for Lori Sangria once in a while.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think he's going to be clearly the kind of mentor here. He's obviously taking Jason under his wing. When they say that he is from the golden age of smuggling in the Keys and stuff like that, I feel like if there's any tie to a reference or some connection to the original Vice City game, it's going to come from him, where he might mention that at some point, I was doing scores, but I had to lay low because there was this dude Tommy that was just, he was just taking all this, something like that would be really cool. But yeah, I feel like if there's a mention or something like that for the original game, it's probably going to come from him because he probably was drug running during like the 80s when Tommy was doing it and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, obviously, I think we said the dude Cal is going to be like the Lester, but I feel like this dude is also going to have a part of a Lester where he's going to probably be setting certain things up and planning things out and whatnot. Yeah, letting Jason live at his property, obviously that's the house that we see at the beginning that Jason's doing that stuff. By the way, Brian's truck, I forgot what it's supposed to be, like the Ford truck or whatever. That shit looks fire, dude. That truck that he had looked great. It really did.
Right.
But yeah, so long as Jason helps with local shakedowns, that clearly, I think in the trailer there's a quick shot of Jason kind of like sticking somebody up in, looks like a small little like kind of like surf shop or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that's probably part of it where just, local shit where, hey, this guy got money from Brian and he hasn't paid him back in 2 months. So Jason, go handle that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's going to be probably also more towards the start of the game to get you introduced to the game is, getting money and dealing with people, doing small shit to introduce you to the graphics and not the graphics, but the controls and stuff like that. Yeah. And stopping by for Lori Sangria. That'd be kind of fun if, how Michael has Dr. Friedlander that you can go to and do the therapy sessions. That'd be kind of cool if Jason goes. I'm assuming Lori is Brian's wife. That'd be cool if you could go to their house and sit by their pool, and that's kind of the Dr. Friedlander stuff where you're getting advice from this kind of old lady who's drinking sangria, and you're just like, I don't know, Lori, I'm feel like I'm slipping, and she's like giving you life advice. That'd be pretty cool if you could do that.
I don't know if they ever showed off Lori in the trailer, but if this is a third wife situation, sure. I'm assuming this woman's going to be much younger than Brian.
Oh, that's true. All right. So that's kind of all the character descriptions we got. But we did get some location descriptions. So for Vice City, USA, Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them. But when an easy score goes wrong, this is kind of like the description overall of the game, but also about Vice City. Right. When an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. Only in Leonida, when the sun fades and the neon glows, everyone has something to gain and more to lose. We are a long way from the 80s, but Vice City is still the sun and fun capital of America. The glamour, hustle, and greed of America captured in a single city. Each neighborhood has something to offer, from the pastel Art Deco hotels and bright white sands of Ocean Beach to the bustling panaderias of Little Cuba and the bootleg brands of Tisha Waka Flea Market, out to the VC port, the cruise ship capital of the world. So
I
clearly,
I had no idea there was going to be a fucking flea market in this game. That's awesome.
yeah, that is cool. I'm not so sure if you're going to be able to actually shop there, you know what I'm
No,
saying? But
that makes sense.
just
Yeah.
being in there in general would be really cool. But it would be awesome if you could shop there and pick up little kind of trinkets that you could add to your house or something like that.
Yeah.
Or also for online, that'd be cool if you could do the same thing. So yeah, in general, I think this is really cool. I didn't really read this part, so it is cool to get some more info a little bit about places that aren't these big places like Little Cuba and whatnot.
Right.
Cruise ship capital of the world, that's really cool. So I would imagine you can't have a damn cruise ship capital without actual cruise ships in there. So that's something I don't think we've seen in a GTA game.
Ooh, maybe they can have like a mission on the cruise ship and some shit goes down,
That would
like
be
a
awesome.
deal or something.
That would be really cool. Yeah, that'd be really fucking cool. Or it would be cool if you could kind of like a side activity you could pay to go on a cruise, and it's like a short little thing, but you're on the boat, kind of like the yachts of GTA Online, but
Right.
you're on the boat and you can go in the pool, you can go to the bar, things like that would be really cool. Yeah, I mean Vice City in general. I know I forgot the name of it, but like the Ocean View Hotel or something like that from
Yep.
the original game was in the trailer, so that's cool. So there's definitely going to be iconic places from the original game that you can go and visit and stuff. So that's really cool. But let's move on to the other areas here.
Next area is going to be the Leonida Keys. How the fuck do I say it? Leonida? How the
I
fuck
think
do
so.
you say this?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm saying Leonida. That's just what I've heard
Leonida?
everybody
Okay,
saying,
we'll
so.
stick with that. We'll stick with that then until we can actually
For
figure
now.
it out. Leonida Keys, gateway to paradise. The dress code is casual. The bars are loaded. Life in this tropical archipelago isn't flashy, but it's easy. Get your buzz on and pull up a desk chair, but look out. You are right on the doorstep of some of the most beautiful and dangerous waters in all of America.
So clearly, this is based off the Florida Keys, which is towards the bottom of Florida. But I also want to point out too, for those that don't know, me and Theo live in Florida, so this is going to be really fun to have a very current version of the Florida state in a way, and possibly going to some areas that we ourselves may have actually been to.
Right.
Will be really cool. So that's just a quick thing I want to say. But yeah, clearly this is the Florida Keys. Lots of beaches, lots of boats, lots of kind of like beach house type deals. Obviously, again, I think this is where Jason and Brian kind of live. That's the vibe. That's the area they live in. That house that Jason lives in looks like it would be at the Florida Keys. Yeah, it's just the Florida Keys. There's a lot of beach, a lot of sand, a lot of water. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Grasslands. Welcome to the wetlands, the untamable jewel of Leonidas crown. You never know what lies beneath the surface of this primordial expanse. The gators may be the most famous attraction, but there are far deadlier predators and weirder discoveries among the mangroves. So, off rip, this, I mean, obviously, again, this is the Florida Everglades,
Yep.
but this is going to be the Red Dead Redemption 2 equivalent of, like, the Bayou, and, like, right outside of, like, like, San Denis, right outside of that and shit like that. This is definitely going to be that version of that. GTA 5, we didn't really have that. We had the country where probably all the weird shit happened is like out in like Blaine County and shit. We didn't have like a super creepy area, but I am not excited to be in this area at nighttime.
Dude,
I
I
can tell you
really
that much.
hope they play into like all of like the fucking mysticism and the creatures of like the Everglades and shit like that, because I think that
Yes.
leads to some super fun like strangers missions for sure.
100%. Oh yeah, I already thought when I read this and stuff, I instantly thought of that mission in Red Dead 2 where you're in the middle of the night in the swamp and you have to help the guy or whatever, and there's all these gators around and you have no fucking clue. You can't see shit. You're just praying that you don't get a jump scare by a gator. Instantly what I thought of, that's exactly what's going to happen here. There's probably going to be a main story mission where you have to go here and do something similar in the middle of the night. But like you said, there's going to be a lot, I would imagine, of strangers and freaks missions, but also probably random events that pop up out here in the middle of the night. I'm excited, but I'm also really not excited to explore all of this because I know it's going to be very eerie and creepy, and something's going to jump out at you that you don't want jumping out at you. It's going to be the horror area of I guess this game. Yeah, there's going to be like we said, or like it says, there's gators out there. That's scary enough to possibly get jumped on by a gator, but there's a lot more out there. The Florida Everglades is known for its gators, but it's also known for its ridiculously large pythons that are just laying around out there everywhere. And snakes are my worst fear, so I am not excited to come across the movie Anaconda.
You won't be catching this man
fucking
in the grasslands,
python.
that's for sure.
Right, I'll be there for what I have to do. Other than that, I'm not spending my free roam time in the grasslands area. That's for sure. I'll be chilling at the damn bars in the middle of Vice City instead.
There you go. Maybe you'll be spending your time in Port Gellhorn.
Morning, Gellhorn. Morning, Gellhorn. That's how I think everybody talks out there.
Live hard. This is Leonidas Forgotten Cove. Cheap motels, shut down attractions, and empty strip malls won't bring the tourists back. But there's a new economy in this once popular vacation spot. It's fueled by malt liquor, painkillers, and truck stop energy drinks. Jump on a dirt bike and hold on to your wallet.
All right, so this is clearly probably the kind of country-esque vibe, but definitely
This is going to be the new Sandy Shores. That's what this is going to be.
right. I'm not sure what coast they're talking about when it comes to actual Florida. I don't remember, but I was telling
Forgotten Coast.
right. I was telling my friend Pepperfield, our boy Pepperfield, how funny would it be if this is, even though it's not a coast in real life, if this is their version of Orlando that went from this huge tourist attraction, because it says shut down attractions and shit. So it'd be funny if this is, they move it to one of the coasts, but it's supposed to be Orlando, where there's like a rundown Disney World that, there's a bunch of like squatters and homeless people living in, and they're all doing drugs and stuff. I think that would be pretty funny if it's like Orlando, but it's like run down and horrible.
Right.
That would be pretty funny. But yeah, other than that, I don't know how much there's not much to this, obviously. Like, the shots in the trailer and the screenshots of, I think in the first trailer, there's like the chick covered in mud that's doing this.
Yeah.
And I believe she's in the trailer again, sitting by a campfire. There's dirt bikes. All that stuff is clearly Port Gellhorn. It's going to be like a very rednecky kind of, like, do what you want, right? Do what you want kind of area. Ambrosia, keeping Leonidas sweet. The battle for the health and wealth of Leonidas begins here, in the heart of Leonidas. This is clearly in the middle of the map, or somewhat in the middle of the map. American industry and old school values still reign supreme. Whatever the cost, the Allied crystal sugar refineries prove the jobs, while the local biker game provides almost everything else. So this is probably going to be like more of like the, kind of like the like, I'm trying to figure out what the word is. Like, this is,
where the hell
it says it. It's like it's a sugar refinery. So this is going to be like more of the industrial, that's what I'm saying, the industrial kind of area of the map. Lots of, like, what is it? Smokestacks, things like that. Lots of smokestacks and pipes and things like that. And then the biker gang. I don't think this biker gang is connected to the Lost. I'm pretty sure.
Probably not. No,
even in the, I think there was a screenshot of one of the characters of the biker gang. It didn't say the Lost anywhere. It said something else. So this isn't connected to the Lost. But it would be cool if, probably not in the story, but maybe online, if there's some sort of turf war between the Lost coming to Vice City and fighting this gang, and you have to get involved. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, that's kind of it for Ambrosia. Definitely going to be the industrial kind of area of the map.
I could definitely see maybe some powerful players, some rich characters, or maybe some like little heists here and there happening around here. I could definitely see that happening. If wealth is so important
when it comes to the sugar refinery, I feel like it could be similar to the Clocking Bell kind of raid, where you have to, for whatever reason,
there you go.
you gotta do a heist or maybe just a mission where you gotta get in there and you gotta do something to fuck up the sugar so that it changes stocks or some stupid shit. I don't know, but something like that. Again,
you swap all
also
the sugar
probably
for salt.
probably something that'll come into online as well. But I feel like in the story it'd be cool if, for some reason, Jason and Lucia have to raid this sugar refinery for some reason.
Right.
So, yeah.
And finally, for the last location that's been revealed so far, we have Mount Calaga National Park. Wild, wild country. Room to breathe on the state's northern fringes. A national landmark up against the state's northern border. Mount Calaga offers prime hunting, fishing, and off-road trails. In the lush surrounding backwoods, hillbilly mystics and paranoid radicals live far from the prying eyes of the government.
Yes, sir. Well, clearly, this is the country. This is,
This is the country.
this is definitely the country area of the map. This is going to be our kind of sandy shore slash, like, what the hell is the forest towards Paleto Bay? I'm forgetting what it's called.
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Like the foresty area,
Yeah.
kind of around Mount Chiliad that's in GTA. It's going to be a mix between that and probably like Sandy Shores-esque or Paleto Bay-esque. All that kind of tied into one. It's definitely probably going to be the most beautiful area because it's going to be all nature and things like that. But you and I have already theorized that this is not in Leonida. We've already theorized that we live in Florida, and Florida does not really have this. It's a lot more beaches and cities than nature. And sure, I guess you could say there's certain areas that are very nature-esque. But even at that, our nature is the Florida Everglades. Like, it's more watery marshland rather than a national park with mountains and streams. So yeah, we already kind of theorized this is probably not in actual Leonida, and it's going to be part of what is apparently called Gloriana, but it's essentially Georgia. It's going to be a part of Georgia, which I hope is cool because that would be, I hope it happens because that would be really cool to kind of be able to cross a state line and go into a different state in the game. I think that'd be really cool. And again, there's probably going to be some weird shit going on here. Maybe not as weird or scary. Probably not as scary, I should say, as the Florida Everglades shit's going to be or the grassland shit. But there's definitely going to be some weird shit going on in here. Not scary, but definitely bizarre kind of shit going on out in this national park. And if there's hunting, which I'd imagine there is, which again, for Vice City or Florida, the hunting is probably going to be, gators and snakes and lizards. But if there's any other kind of animals, they would probably be in here, like deer or things like that will probably be in this thing for your
Raccoons.
Hunting side activity. Right. Shit like that. So yeah, that's kind of all the actual full-on info we have between the characters and the areas. When it comes to the areas, I'd imagine there are obviously going to be more areas, like it says in that first kind of excerpt about Little Cuba and things like that. This is just the main, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the main 6 locations you'll be at. But in between and inside of these areas is where you'll find more kind of areas and things to itself. So that's going to be really cool. Hopefully, if, Port Gellhorn, if that's not the actual Orlando, hopefully there is some sort of Orlando area that they just haven't revealed yet. Because I feel like it would be a very wasted opportunity to have a game set in Florida and not have some sort of version of your own, like Disney World. I think even a while ago, this is before the podcast, you and I just theorizing about some like Pixie Land or something like that of some ripoff Disney. Yeah. Again, I think if you're going to have a game in Florida and you're not going to have some sort of theme park, it's a missed opportunity. And I know that's one of the things that a lot of people have wanted for GTA 6 is to have some sort of Disney World ripoff in the game. So yeah, hopefully that is in there and it's just not something they announced because it's not a huge area of its own, you know what I'm saying? So, but we do have some extra info here, and the extra info, again, it's not like confirmed certain super facts. It's more stuff that I've seen people talking about from the trailer and the screenshots, just stuff in the background or things that we noticed. So first one, going back to what we just said, Georgia plates. On some of the cars, there were some license plates that said Liberty City, but there were also some that said Gloriana, which again is essentially going to be Georgia. So that's something that could just be in there, but I feel like chances are if it's in there, it's probably because maybe that stuff is coming from the park area that we were talking about. Basketball. In the trailer, there's a shot. It's kind of a far off, like almost drone shot of what looks like Jason and Cal playing some basketball at a public basketball kind of hoop. As well as I noticed in the trailer, outside of Jason's house, there's a basketball hoop like attached to kind of the wall on the outside. So this is something that people theorized, and it seems like it's pretty much confirmed that you'll be able to play some version of basketball, whether it's only 1-on-1 or just shooting by yourself or something like that. I'd imagine if it's in the trailer that him and Cal are playing, then that's at least 2v2 or something like that, or 1v1. And then if there's a basketball hoop on its own at the house, you could probably just shoot around and just, if you want, literally just shoot. You know what I'm saying? Throw a basketball in the hoop. So that's gonna be cool. I mean, GTA 5 has tennis and golf, so I'd imagine there would be more. If not, those may actually even return just because they're already there. But basketball is definitely a welcome addition, and definitely gonna be fun online. I'd imagine it'll be carried over into online. I could see you, me, and Grace doing a 3v3, and Grace having to carry us because we're so bad. The only time Grace will have to carry us in the game is if it's something with basketball. But so yeah, that seems to be a confirmed activity. As well as in the trailer, there's a shot of Lucia. There's two shots. There's one of her hitting a heavy bag, and there's another one of her inside of like a cage, not a wrestling cage, more of an MMA cage. So that is probably going to be a thing. I know in I think it was GTA 4 in the Ballad of Gay Tony, I believe that was a thing where you go to a fight club as what the hell was his name? What the hell was the I'm forgetting his name from GTA 4.
Who? Fucking
The character that you play as. I'm
Nico?
forgetting his name. No. In Ballad of Gay Tony.
Oh.
Luis. Yeah. Yeah, you can do a fight club with Luis where you go in. So I can see that making a return. Again, even in her character description, it says she was always born fighting or whatever. So it seems like that's a heavy part of her thing, is that she's kind of a fighter. I know in the leak a while ago, before even the first trailer, there was like obviously that huge leak with all the stuff that came out. There was like a leaked list of activities, and one of them was pro wrestling. We didn't see anything about that in the trailer or the screenshots, but Kodo, you and I are both very big wrestling fans, so I'd imagine we both really would love that to be in GTA 6, where you can be Jason or Lucia and kind of hop in a wrestling ring and either be a part of shows, or you're just doing it in somebody's backyard or something. Either way, I think it'd be really, really cool. So yeah, I think that'd be awesome. The trailer in itself features actual gameplay. This is something that I think slipped a lot of people's minds because of how cinematic it is.
I want to point that out too. That shit's incredible. Because
Yes.
at first I was like, damn, I'm kind of disappointed they didn't show gameplay. But then I was like, no, they did show
Right.
gameplay. And I was like, I couldn't even tell. That's how good
Right.
that shit is.
Right. Yeah, so when I first watched the trailer, the only thing I knew when I watched the trailer, the only thing I knew instantly that was gameplay was the beginning where Jason talks to Brian and then walks away and he walks in the house. That is straight up prime GTA gameplay, where the way it was shot and the way it kind of goes in is like a definite transfer from a cutscene into playing. So I knew that from the beginning was definitely like the beginning of gameplay footage, but the rest of it I thought was all either cutscenes or just cinematic stuff that they made. But yeah, no, apparently a good portion of it is actual just gameplay. That was also captured on a base PS5. I think a lot of people probably would have assumed it was on a PS5 Pro or something like that. Nope. Apparently that is a base PS5. I've already seen a million memes about how all of our PlayStation 5s are going to be jet engines when GTA 6 comes out, because the fact that a base PS5 can the game looks that good on a normal PS5 is just fucking insane.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely could see our PlayStations just being loud as hell trying to process and render this game. I've seen a lot of people talking about Jason possibly being an undercover cop, and that's part of his story, and that might be the big reveal. I'm kind of either way. I'm not mad if that happens, but I feel like it is a little predictable. And I've also seen people say that it's pretty predictable. But there's a shot from the first trailer of some body cam footage of these cops like breaking into somebody's apartment, and the guy on like the right looks kind of like, you can't really see his face, but his build looks very similar to Jason's. He has a backwards cap on and like a police vest. And then there's a shot in this trailer of Jason and Brian driving, and Jason is wearing a backwards cap with a vest on, but the vest doesn't say police on it like it did like the first trailer's guy did. But either that's them fucking with us, or that is actually a part of it and they just edited out the police lettering that's on the thing. But I also was thinking, even if he is an undercover cop, why would he be with Brian in that thing? I don't know. Very confusing, but there is weight to the theory. It's not an out there theory for sure.
Right.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
That's exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. I was essentially just like, I was like, this is just going to be like a way out. That's what this is going to be. Is like,
Right.
he's going to turn out to be an undercover cop, and like the last mission or something like that, you have to pick one of them to kill the other or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to how GTA 5 ended, depending on what option you picked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too. I think everybody's thinking that is that we're gonna fall in love. Like the typical rock stars, we're gonna fall in love with both of these characters. We're gonna love these characters, and then the heartbreak is gonna be when you get to the end and you have to choose who you take control of to kill the other one in what's gonna be a very emotional and traumatic kind of experience. So yeah, him being an undercover cop would obviously play into that, where Lucia finds out, and either again you take control of Jason as a cop, and you kind of take her out, or you take control of Lucia, and you take him out. I feel like I'm already choosing Lucia. I feel like most people probably getting rid of Jason, but we'll have to see how the story goes. And again, it could totally just be wrong in general. House customization is something I noted because I haven't seen a ton of people talking about it, but it could not be a thing. But in the trailer, I did see one person note that inside of Jason's house, kind of towards the beginning of the game, the curtains on the window are like gray or something like that. And then there's a shot later in the game when I think it's a shot where Lucia comes home and like jumps on top of him on the couch. The curtains are a completely different color, which that could just be from a different build of the game and they just changed it. But this is something that people have wanted. We got a little hint of it in GTA Online with the customization penthouse or whatever, and the more so with the penthouse in the arcade, or not the arcade, the casino where you could fully kind of customize it, and everybody loved it. That's one of the things I think everybody kind of loves about GTA Online is that penthouse where you could choose what you want to put in there. So I definitely think that should be a thing in GTA's 6's story mode, and obviously online. More so probably online, but even in story mode, you should definitely be able to choose what furniture and what your house looks like for sure. Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we got over here? We got possible hurricanes. We know that they've been playing around with the weather system, especially in like Red Dead 2, where they would have like those big thunderstorms and stuff like that, and lightning would possibly strike you and your horse as you're riding along. It seems like they could possibly be developing that even further into a hurricane system, in where probably the entire state will get fucking rocked by a hurricane, possibly even like cars getting lifted off the ground and flying down streets and stuff like that. That's an entire possibility.
It would be wild if they added tornadoes, and you could just get sucked up into a tornado and that you could just die.
I don't think, maybe not in this game. I just don't think that, because it's not something that really happens down here. It does far more
during a hurricane. There's tornadoes.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the hurricane typically is going to be the whole thing. It's like the tornado is really kind of like a part of it.
I'm just saying I feel like it'd be wild if you could either A, get sucked up into a tornado, or B, you stay away from it, but you just watch kind of like the destruction, trees falling over or whatever. But in general, I feel like hurricanes have to be in this game. That's like one of the most famous things about Florida is like every year, from like August to October is just hurricanes. So yeah, I definitely think maybe too that could be it'd be interesting if, I don't know if they would make it to where you have to like evacuate, but definitely something where like maybe certain parts of the map.
As a true Floridian, I'm doing the opposite. I'm getting on a boat and I'm going
hunker down. Right. But it'd be interesting if like certain parts of the map during a hurricane are off limits just because that's where the storm, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which also could be part of the story too, if and it might kind of go into the next note I have, but like if they want you to stay, like how in the original games there was the bridges that you couldn't go across until a certain point. Maybe there's like a part in the story where there's certain places you can't go yet, and the reasoning is that there is a hurricane or there was a hurricane and the destruction is messed up. Like the whole place is messed up, something like that. But yeah, I feel like that has to be in there. There's a part in the trailer where there's like a flood, whatever it's called in the water. I forgot what it's called, but like something for flooding, which that's another thing that happens with hurricanes. So that would also be interesting if, there's a hurricane that hits and you're driving to get to safety and all of a sudden the street starts flooding.
Maybe loses his house. Maybe a hurricane just wipes that whole fucking thing off the map.
Maybe. That could be part of the story too. You have to move into the actual city or something like that because that house, like you said, gets blown away. It doesn't look like it's very sturdy. It looks like it's on some stilts.
And if it's sitting on the keys, that's already like a pretty bad place.
So that would be interesting. But also, yeah, so Lucia's ankle monitor is another thing that I noted here. There's certain parts of the game or the trailer that she has an ankle monitor. I think even in the original artwork of them on the car, or her sitting on the car with him, she has her ankle monitor on. So clearly she gets out of jail under some sort of something where she has some sort of house arrest situation. Going back to the hurricane kind of thing where it might block off certain parts. That may also be part of it where when you're playing with Lucia, there's certain there's a certain distance you're allowed to go. And certain areas you can't go into because of the ankle monitor. So that's a small thing, but obviously that's going to play into the story somehow. And I would imagine, again, if she has an ankle monitor, if you're playing as her, there's only a certain amount of places you can kind of go, I'm going to skip something and go back to it, but Lucia wearing AirPods, that's something that was in like 2 shots in this trailer. This isn't, I've seen a lot of people say this is something like mind-blowing, but I'm not gonna lie, it's technically not because it's in GTA Online. If you were like a GTA Plus member for like the first month it came out or whatever, you could have AirPods. I have them for my character. Like you could have AirPods. I think what makes it different though is that in GTA Online it was purely cosmetic. You couldn't actually use them, but I think in this one, it's not gonna be cosmetic. I think it's gonna not play a role, but it's gonna be an actual thing. For years, I mean, people have wanted like in GTA 5, you can only really listen to music in the radio or in an actual radio, like in Michael's house or something like that. You can't just like listen to music. But in today's day and age, that's all people do. You know what I'm saying? We have Spotify, YouTube Music, Pandora, Apple Music, all on our phones, and we can listen to music whenever, wherever we want. So I feel like that has to be a part of this, where you can, use your phone and you can make your own playlist of the songs that are in the game, and you can listen to them whenever you want, whether it's in the car or it's walking down the street in Vice City. Long story short, it's cool that she has AirPods. It's a cool cosmetic, but I think at this point, in this day and age, since it's such a big thing, it has to be a thing where you can listen to music whenever you want through your character's phone rather than an actual radio. I don't know if you have thoughts on that or not, but...
No, I mean you pretty much nailed it on the head. That's exactly kind of what I was expecting it to be. At least when you know it. I didn't really notice it in the trailer just because I feel like that typically would just be something that is just like a cosmetic. But like if that system does come into the actual game, which I feel like it should, I think that'd be pretty cool. Especially if you're just like you and me would be doing like just like gunning down a bunch of cops from like some sort of safe vantage point or something like that, just building up stars, having like a cool like soundtrack of all the music in the game playing at the same time. That would be pretty dope.
It would also be cool too, again, maybe more for online, but even in the story mode, especially if they have DLC or something like that, it would be cool if they have like a thing where you have access to all the songs that are in the game that would be on the radio that you could put on your playlist or stuff. Yeah. But like it'd be cool for online and stuff like that if they have an update where you could like purchase new songs. Like with each update, if they put in new songs and you spend $1,000 of your character's money to get whatever song. I'm just like some Chapel Rowan song or something like that. You get that'd be pretty cool. Even though that's not really a thing because now it's just all again subscription based or whatever. But I think it would be cool just like maybe make it more of an activity to where you're actually purchasing songs and stuff like that. So that'd be cool. But going back to the other thing here is, can we go to different maps? Again, we see the Gloriana license plate, and so we're assuming that's in the game, some part of it. But when it comes to the other maps of GTA, like Los Santos or Liberty City, we see Liberty City license plates on one of the trucks, but I think it's in Vice City. But we know Lucia is from Liberty City, so we kind of talked about it earlier. Like, do we think there's a portion of the game that takes us back there, whether it's a flashback to her maybe being a teenager, or it's a current day thing where for some reason she has to go see her mother in Liberty City or something like that? And do we think that a portion of Liberty City, because I don't think Los Santos is going to be involved in this at all. I think we've spent 13 years in Los Santos.
Right.
We're good. And if anybody wants to stay in Los Santos, I'm sure the original GTA Online is going to stay online for a while to go back there and stuff, so I don't think Los Santos is involved, but Liberty City would be really cool. So do you think that we'll be able to go to Liberty City, or again, like I said, with that rumor about a possible Cuba thing? I feel like Cuba would be probably more like a Cayo Perico, where it's just kind of like a portion of an island. But it would still be really cool, where if they did include maybe some shops and some buildings in like a Cuban area, and then like whatever else, I think it would be cool. Do you think we'll be able to travel to different areas, not just Vice City?
No, I think if we do go to different places, I think it's just going to be mission based, because I feel like how like this game's been in development for a long time, but like building a bunch of like different maps and trying to like interconnect those things, I think it's just going to be a little too complicated, I'd say, because even with like the Cayo Perico situation, that's like a very small island, which
Right.
is pretty much nothing but like just little bits of nature here and there and like a few buildings. Like going to different places where there are like a giant city like Liberty City or something like Cuba or anything like that. If it is something that does happen, it's going to be very like small, I'd say, similar to a Cayo Perico. I don't think it's going to be any sort of like bigger map or something like that, because that's pretty much what Lenoida is at this point. That's the big
Right.
map. So I don't
Right.
think so. Not unless it's like for like a mission or something like that, similar to North Yankton. That's the only way
I mean,
can
if
see that happening.
I could agree with you. I feel like if that was a thing where you could go to Liberty City, game changer, dude. That's a fucking game changer. If you can
It
go
is.
to a full Vice City, Florida map and then get on a plane and I would imagine it would have to be a cutscene or something like that. But you can go and there's a fully rendered Liberty City as well. That would be, yeah, total game changer. I think, if anything, again, maybe mission based. If there's a portion where you could just go to Liberty City, I feel like it'd be more for online than story mode. I feel like in online, that was a thing that people wanted in GTA Online in general, the ability to go to different maps and have different houses and properties and different maps. And I feel like that's partially why we got the Cayo Perico thing, even though you couldn't really do anything there. It was just to try and satisfy somewhat of a need to go somewhere else. So I feel like online might be the possibility of they'll have a lot of time to work on it still, because they probably already working on it. If it's for online, they're probably already working on it and still have a lot of time to work on it, to where then, yeah, then you can go to Liberty City, and again, it may not be the full map like GTA 4, but a good chunk of the city, to where you could buy an apartment, or you could buy, a Brookstone, something like that. I think it would be really cool. But yeah, I think if anything, mission wise, yeah, maybe in the game, but I think free roam wise would probably be more like an update for online rather than just in the
What
game
it
in
probably
general.
will be is it'll probably be like a story mission, and then some like modders or cheaters will like find a way to get you there in online.
Maybe, but
That's
also
what it was for the longest time.
GTA or Rockstar did buy that 5M service or whatever, and they hired a lot of those people that worked on that thing. So that could be a possibility if that's what those people were doing anyways. Who's to stop them from having actual resources from Rockstar to do the same thing, but make it look better and make it a part of the actual game? You know what I'm saying? So that would be pretty badass. A PlayStation in the game. It was not an actual PlayStation. However, there is a shot in the trailer that shows Jason's TV with what looks very similar to a PlayStation 5, and then what, funny enough, looks very similar to a PlayStation 4 controller on the table. I mean, games have been a thing. Like, I mean, again, GTA Online, you could have a whole arcade where you play games, but you haven't been able to play like Righteous Slaughter, which was a big thing for Jimmy in GTA 5. So again, it may just be a cosmetic thing, but that would be cool if you could kind of play some sort of video game. But in general, I just think it's really cool that obviously Rockstar and Sony have some sort of agreement. Obviously, again, the whole trailer was filmed on a PlayStation 5 and whatnot, so there's some sort of agreement. So it is really cool in general just to see that there is like a PlayStation 5 in
should
the
do
game.
like what they did in Uncharted 4 and just have you play Crash Bandicoot.
That's what I thought of. But I was like, that'd be cool if... What if you could play the original GTA, the top-down GTA, and maybe they call it something else, I don't know, but that'd be kind of cool if you could play somewhat of the original like GTA in GTA 6. That'd be really cool.
Right.
Two quick things: wireless payment and vapes. There's a quick thing in the trailer. In the gas station, there's like stickers on the door, like most gas stations actually have, that say "We accept wireless payment." As well as there's like a promotional poster on the wall or on the window for vapes. I feel like both of these probably might just be in the game. Wireless payment doesn't seem like it's too crazy. You just sit, pay like you would in GTA 5, and maybe you just pull your phone out real quick, and that's it. Just a little quick animation, pull your phone out, and you pay with your phone. And vapes, I mean, in GTA you could buy cigarettes. So I feel like, again, quick animation where you buy a vape and instead of pulling out a cigarette, you just pull out the vape real quick and throw it back. Vapes, I mean, you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. You shouldn't be doing vapes in general. We don't agree with that. But that's clearly a very big thing in our world today. A lot of people our age can't live without a vape. It's like they'll have a whole mental breakdown if they lose their vape. So I could see that being a part of the game. Again, simple, quick animation. You just pull out the vape real quick and hit it. So yeah, just two small things that kind of are more relative to current day that I definitely could see. And then a few more things. Hair movement. The hair in this game looks incredible, especially Lucia's hair. When she's moving around and stuff, the hair is flowing very freely. 2K could definitely take some notes from that for the WB games because the hair movement is horrible in that.
10% of what they're doing over here. Bro.
Not at all. So yeah, the hair movement for Lucia is incredible. Ass. Everybody's been talking about this. Standout from the trailer.
Talking about it.
Lucia got that booty. There is jiggle physics for sure when she's kind of moving around, when they're frolicking around in bed, or when she's spinning around with her dress on. There's some movement going on. It's a little dumb to talk about, but it is still something noticeable for sure that people have been talking about. Jewelry moving, same thing. I believe there was a shot in the trailer where Lucia, puts up a gun or something like that, and you see like her bracelet slide down her wrist and things like that. I think Jason, he has like a chain under his shirt.
Chain. It'll like
but you can still kind of see it moving
chest with every like step.
Right. There are bubbles in beer. That was something else on the table.
Amen.
In his house, they're having a beer, and there's a beer on the table, and you could physically see the carbonation of the beer and the bubbles bubbling up to the top, as well as a couple other shots, especially the one in the gas station of him walking out with the beer. As he's walking, you literally see the liquid in the bottles sloshing around, which is insane because I don't think that's like in GTA 5 that's not a thing. So that's pretty incredible that it's like that. And just in general, this game just looks fucking beautiful. Like, the ray tracing is incredible. Like, looking and having actual mirrors on the cars that you could actually see behind you, or in the windshield you could see reflection. Like, there was a puddle on the ground in the trailer where you could see like the reflection of the buildings above it. Like, just incredible, the ray tracing in this game. In general, they have really paid attention to like the finer details of this whole game. Lucia doing community service, that's just something that I noticed. Again, probably part of her sentencing with her house arrest and stuff like that. There's a group of people doing some like trash pickup, and you can clearly tell Lucia is there. She's got a vest on, and then later in the trailer you see the same. She's in the house when she lays on top of Jason. She has the same like vest on and stuff like that. So clearly that's a thing that's going on with her. I equate it to that one mission where you're Michael and you have to go into like the IAA building and you have to like mop the floor or whatever. I think that's a thing in online too for one mission. It's probably the same thing where it's just one of those funny little cute little missions where you're going to be Lucia and you just got to pick up trash for like 2-3 minutes and then you move on with the rest of the mission. And my last little note here of extras, Phil Cassidy, who is in Vice City. This is something I've seen a lot of people talk about. Phil Cassidy was a character in Vice City Stories, and I think even Liberty City Stories. That was like a gun runner or something like that. He helps you out. And in this trailer, there's an ammunition called Phil's Ammunition. So a lot of people have been speculating that this is Phil Cassidy. I believe the last appearance you see him in, he has like one arm, so it can't technically be the same character. However, this shit confuses me, but there's like a thing where there's like two different universes within GTA or something like that, where the like 3D universe and the HD universe are separate. So like GTA 4, GTA 5, GTA 6 takes place in the same universe, but anything before that is technically its own universe that I guess they could pick a... Like if they wanted Tommy Vercetti not to show up because I think he's dead, but like if they wanted something with Tommy Vercetti, they could still put it in there, but it's technically not the same or whatever. It's stupid shit. So people are speculating, is this actually Phil Cassidy? And it's this version of Phil Cassidy. So yeah, this is something I noticed. That's also something I saw that it could be his son or something like that. So yeah, just something small but very intriguing that we may have seen our first, I guess, returning character from the series into the game. But that leads me to my last little two topics here is who do we think from previous games may be showing up within this game?
So there is. I do have two characters. Well, obviously Tommy Vercetti would be one that I would want to see again because Vice City is like my favorite GTA like story, I'd say, and I like a lot of those characters, especially him. I think he'd be dope. Obviously, I feel like he'd probably be a lot older in this game for sure. Maybe he's kind of like an old head that like talks about like the crime back in the day and stuff like that, and how criminals and people aren't like the same as they used to be and stuff like that. Kind of like an old mobster sort of vibe because that's kind of what he was in the original game. So I could see that happening. Um, there's another character here that I have pulled up that I would kind of like to see, who is voiced by Danny Trejo, who is Humberto Robina, who's the leader of like the Cuban gang that's in like Little Havana in the original Vice City. I just think it'd be fun to see him again because he was such like a fun character back in the original game.
Danny Trejo's down for anything too.
Yeah, and Danny Trejo's down for anything, so I could definitely see him coming back with this, even if just for like a few little missions here and there. I think that'd be super fun. And I do also have Love Fists in here because they were a part of the original game as well, and I think if they're still hanging around Vice City, that'd be funny.
And I feel like they make some sort of appearance in every game. Because GTA 5, I think online or something like that, there's a mission.
I think there was a mission where Trevor kills one of them, I think.
Right. And I think, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, so for me, I'm not going to lie. When I think of who showed up for previous games, the first person that popped in my head, and it's probably because I'm playing through 5, is Lamar Davis. I feel like he's almost a guarantee to show up in this game. He's just too funny of a character, and it would make so much sense that he just goes to Vice City. But also, in GTA Online, he has started his own company called LD Organics. I would love if this idiot has somehow made a huge global business, and he, like, even if he doesn't show up, there has to be, like, advertisements for LD Organics weed on, like, store. Like, the LD Organic stuff has to pop up somewhere. Yeah. Like, you see rolling papers on Jason's table or, like, something like that. If he doesn't show up, which I think he will, there has to definitely be some, like, LD Organics. Because it's funny because it's something from a character, but it's an actual brand in the thing. So it's like, if Sprunk is coming back, I would love to see LD Organics rolling papers and things like that showing up in the game. So he's the first one.
I could see definitely maybe in like more so like the northern part, like where all like the rednecks and like the country shit is. I could definitely see Ron fitting in there. Just solely off his vibe alone, I could definitely see him fitting in there. Maybe he's finally gotten away from Trevor and he's just like now in like retirement or some shit like that out there, but he's still like doing some fuck shit. I could see that happening.
He was chasing a conspiracy theory and it led him to the national park or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, cool. Something like that.
Yeah, those two for sure because they're also heavily in GTA Online, so I feel like they may also be in GTA Online for 6. But it would be cool to see them in the story mode. My wild card, and I think we've talked about this before, is I would love to see Michael pop up just for a cameo. I don't want him in the story. I don't want him in, I don't want him to be a part of the whole thing. Maybe online, but like in the story, I don't want him to be part of it. I would just love like a cutscene where Jason and Lucia, or Jason, so like two people in the game are walking on the beach, and just they walk past this family, and it's Michael, Jimmy, Tracy, and Amanda just like having a fight on the beach. I think that would be really cool. Just a quick little cameo, especially if we don't get like we've all wanted the last GTA Online update for 5 to be something with Michael, which I still would love to see before 6. But especially if we don't get that, I feel like he has to be in online in 6 at some point. But I would love, just like a small little funny cameo of like the 4 of them just like fighting on the beach, and Michael's like trying to hold all the beach chairs and he's just like struggling and he's yelling, like something like that would just be incredible.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, Michael, but for only like a cameo. Other than that, I feel like that'd be kind of. I did see somebody say it would be cool if Luis from the Ballad of Gay Tony showed up, just because he's kind of a part of that club scene. So it would be cool if he's in Vice City. Maybe he owns his own club in Vice City. You could say the same thing about Tony. Obviously, the nightclub stuff was a huge part of online. I'd imagine it's going to be a huge part of online again with its own update. So it would be cool if Tony shows up again. But maybe again, if Luis is in the story or something like that, he's a part of the online update too. Would be cool. Yeah, I feel like they have a bunch of characters that could pop up here and there. But I would say my most confident one is probably Lamar Davis. I definitely feel like either he's popping up or again the LD Organics branding is going to pop up on certain stuff for sure.
Right.
So my last thing before we end this bonus episode, what are we most excited for as of now? As of now, we don't have all the info. We don't know about all the activities and the side things and the Strangers of Freaks and the random events and the customization. We don't know anything about that. We just know about the characters and the locations. But as of right now, Theo, what are you most excited for GTA 6?
There is one thing that has not been talked about at all, pretty much, throughout all of this. It's not really like gameplay, it's not graphics, it's not art related, it's not characters related. I need to know what the fuck the soundtrack is for this game because it needs to fucking go hard.
Yes, especially if we're going to be able to have our own like Spotify playlist. There's got to be bangers in there.
It's got to be bangers on every fucking station. I need a jazz station back. Y'all had one in 4 and you took it out in 5. I don't accept that. I need a jazz station back.
Like Saints Row 2, obviously that's my favorite game, and we talk about it where you could have your own MP3 player and your own like playlist or whatever. And there was when I play that game, there's probably like 15 songs on my thing.
Right.
When I played Saints Row 3, I believe there's like 2 songs. Like I don't even listen to it because I'm just gonna hear the same 2 songs. Like the radio stations were like the soundtrack wasn't as good. Maybe there's like 4 songs, but like not a lot that would make me want to listen to it. So I'm like, I need bangers. I mean, if Love is an Open Road, which was obviously in the first trailer, I would imagine that's in the game. That song is great. So I'm like, that's at least one song there. So yeah, I would love, for sure. There needs to be some bangers in here. And again, if we get updates where they add songs, because they did that in GTA 5 every once in a while, that would be really, really good. Especially like GTA 5 at this point with the original soundtrack plus everything they've added. If you could have your own playlist, I'd have a pretty extensive playlist. There's a lot of songs that we both
even just stuff from the original like game. I think there's just enough you can do with that.
Okay, so yeah, there needs to be an incredible soundtrack for sure. Anything else you're very, very excited for?
I mean, I'm just kind of excited for everything. I mean, the soundtrack obviously is like the first thing, but like, I don't think there's really anything that I'm not particularly excited for. I mean, it's all gonna be pretty incredible. I feel like they've been working on it forever. I think gameplay is gonna be great. I can't really see how they like develop game. I'm just gonna kind of keep talking while you're dealing with this.
Yeah, you're good,
I don't really see how gameplay is gonna like be too much more advanced than it kind of was already in 5. Like I don't think it's gonna be like a massive leap between like Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. I feel like it's generally gonna be kind of like the same gameplay, especially because it's kind of just the same concept for the game.
Right.
But there's obviously things they're going to do. There's a bunch of stuff they're going to add in, a bunch of content and stuff like that. So that's going to be very exciting for sure. Just everything, pretty much.
Yeah. For me, I would say definitely I'm intrigued to see what the radio station's like. I'm very intrigued to see what side activities there are. Like we said, basketball is clearly one of them, but I want the full list. What I'm probably most excited for is the story. I feel like I'm always, like, some people hate on GTA 5, but I love that GTA 5 story. I think it's very good. I even like the GTA 4 story. Like I always enjoy the story, so I'm very excited to see how this all comes to be, what they're gonna do, and how it all comes crashing down and ends up with one of them like dead. You know. So yeah, the story is probably what I'm most excited for. Customization, I think I'm most excited for that as well because we don't know anything about it, but I would imagine it's gonna be probably more extensive than GTA 5 because they always do more. So also RDR had like the hair kind of growth stuff, so I'd imagine that's going to come into GTA 6. Seeing different hairstyles and things like that. Car customization, I feel like the customization in 5 is incredible, but again, they always go bigger, so it has to be even more detailed and things like that. So I think for me, probably, the story and the customization are probably the 2 things I'm most excited for. But I'm also just really excited, obviously, in general, for everything. I'm excited to explore. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a whole new map. We've been on the same Los Santos map for like 13, 14 years. We've all seen every part of it. We all can pretty much drive anywhere at this point without needing a waypoint. So I'm excited to just explore this brand new map that we haven't played on yet. So yeah, I'd say that's probably it for me.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts as we are about a year away from the release of GTA 5? Or GTA 6, my bad.
Nothing that we haven't already kind of discussed pretty much in this episode. I think we kind of covered both all the news and everything we're kind of expecting or excited for. I hope to God it's as incredible as we're making it out to be.
Right.
God forbid it isn't. That would
They have
be like the biggest waste of 13 years ever.
They have a very tall task in front of them, but if anybody could do it, it's Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we'll end on that. We appreciate y'all watching this bonus episode. We're gonna cover GTA 6 heavily. Anything that comes out, we're either gonna include it in the podcast or we'll make its own episode depending on how big it is. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be heavily paying attention to any news, trailers, videos, screenshots of GTA 6. We're gonna be covering it. Shout out to WNRN, of course, being the podcast host. Check out the rest of the podcast on our YouTube channel. And with that, we will see y'all later.